Um, it says mental power is creative power. It gives you the ability to create for yourself. It does not mean the ability to take something away from somebody else. Nature never does things that way. Nature makes two blades for grass to grow where one grew before, and mind power enables men to do the same thing. There is a change in the thought of the world. This change is silently transpiring in our midst and is more important than any which the world has undergone since the downfall of paganism. Like I was saying earlier, it is a very, 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 very special time for our generation because we are the ones to make a change and we are the ones to rise up and to break generational curses. God's chosen. Um, if it resonates, it resonates. That's all I can say. I'm really just reading some things that stuck out to me that I can highlight or whatnot, or that I highlighted. If you want to get the book, I got this book on TikTok. It's called The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannah with two A's. But on the whole world is on the eve of a new consciousness, a new power, and a new consciousness, a new power, and a new realization of the resources within self. The last century saw the most magnificent material progress in history. The present century will produce the greatest progress in mental and spiritual power. You heard it right. The present century will produce the greatest progress in mental and spiritual power. If you can't feel it in the air, if you can't see it, if you can't, if you just don't know what's going down, then you just unfortunately you're not there yet, and there's more work to be done, and we here to help. But you got to get there, and it's gonna cost a whole lot of pain to get there. Not literally, not physically, but spiritually. That spiritual pain, you got to go through it. You got to go through it to get to the place you want to be at. That's if you want to be somewhere. Remember, you got to be willing. He only wants willing workers. um. And they have a addition and subtraction. Therefore, a spiritual transaction. Reasoning is a spiritual process. Ideas are spiritual conceptions. Questions are spiritual searchlights and logic. Argument and philosophy is spiritual machinery. Um, every thought brings into action certain physical tissue, parts of the brain, nerve, muscle. This produces an actual physical change in the construction of the tissue. Therefore, it is only necessary to have a certain number of thoughts on a given subject in order to bring about a complete change in the physical organization of a man. This is the process by which failure is changed to success. Thoughts of courage, power, inspiration, harmony are substituted for thoughts of failure, despair, lack, limitation, and discord. And these thoughts take root. The physical tissue is changed, and the individual sees a life in a new light. Old things have actually passed away. All things have become new. He is born again, or she. The time, this time born of the spirit. I was saying be more spiritual and not physical, right? It's not a game. It's not a game for real. Like the more I get used to talking to this camera thing, then I'll be able to express how I really feel a little more without being shaky. But hence the bad reading. Hope y'all don't talk about me. If you do, oh well. But it's really, I don't know. Like I was saying, I just felt like I'm supposed to be doing this. Like I've come across books, YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram posts, Facebook posts, everything, and it's like God speaking, right? But you got to be aware to know if it's what's being said, right? So and all that takes time, but you got to take time with yourself. Like if you need to isolate, isolate. Talk to God, isolate if you got to. It ain't gonna hurt. You got business to handle. You handle your business. Give you some time to isolate. You don't need number like 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Some time to pray, talk to God, simple as that. And you ain't got to talk to God. Talk to God. Um, but yeah, we can go on. Part one. We have 45, 45 verses, and we got some study questions. Let's say that much gathers. More is true on every plane of existence. That loss leads to greater loss is equally true. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual and predominant mental attitude. The attitude, the attitude of mind necessarily depends on what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends on our method of thinking. So, like, if you It's all in your thoughts, right? It's all in your thoughts. Your mental plane, your mental state, like in your ability to be able to control what you're thinking, how you're thinking, when you're thinking is probably the most top tier thing you can do in a time like this right now. Um, and I urge everybody to work on themselves and go back and heal if you got to. Like, it ain't nothing wrong with going to heal. People say it's soft, the cry and all that stuff. Sometimes you gotta go back and cry. Cause I cry. But this is true because we must be before we can do, and we can do only to the extent of which we are, and what we are depends on what we think, and that's how we're wired. We cannot express powers that we do not possess. The only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power, and we never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. There is a world within, a world of thought and feeling and power, of light and life and beauty, and although invisible, its forces are mighty. The world within is governed by the mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. And since the world within is subject to our control, all laws of power and possession are also within our control. The world without is a reflection of the world within, and appears without is what has been found within. In the world within may be found infinite wisdom, infinite power, infinite supply of all that is necessary, waiting for unfoldment, development, and expression. If we recognize these potentialities in the world within, they will make they will take form in the world without. Harmony in the world within will be reflected in the world without by harmonious conditions, agreeable surroundings, and the best of everything. It is the foundation of health and necessary essential to all greatness and all power, all attainment, all achievement, and all success. Harmony in the world within means ability to control our thoughts and to determine for ourselves how any experience is to affect us. Harmony in the world within results in optimism and affluence. Affluence within results in affluence without. Number 12, the world without reflects circumstances and the conditions of consciousness within. If we find wisdom in the world within, we shall have the understanding to discern the world marvelous possibilities that are latent in this world within, and we shall be given the power to make these possibilities manifest in the world without. As we become conscious of the wisdom in the world within, we mentally take possession of this wisdom. And by taking mental possession, we come into actual possession of the power and wisdom necessary to bring into manifestation the essential necessary for our most complete and harmonious development. The world within is a practical world in which the man and woman of power generate courage, hope, enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith by which they are given the fine intelligence to see the vision and the practical skill to make the vision real.
Now take a sec and pause, think about what I just said. It's time to realize what it is and what it's not. And here's some encouragement.
Life is an unfoldment, not accretion. What comes to us in the world without is what we already possess in the world within. All possession is based on consciousness. All gain is a result of an accumulative consciousness. All loss is a result of scattering consciousness. Mental efficiency is contingent upon harmony. Discord means confusion. Therefore, he who will acquire power must be in harmony with natural law. We are related to the world without by the objective mind. The brain is the organ of the mind, and the cerebral spinal system is the nerves puts the cerebral spinal system of nerves puts us in conscious communication with every part of the body. And the system of nerves respond to every sensation of light, heat, odor, sound, taste. When this mind thinks correctly, when it understands the truth, when the thoughts sent through the cerebral spinal nervous system to the body are constructive, these sensations are pleasant, harmonious. The results is that we build strength, vitality, and all constructive forces into our body. But it is through this same objective mind that all distress, sickness, lack, limitation, and every form of discord and inharmony is admitted to our lives. It is therefore through the objective mind, by wrong thinking, that we are related to all destructive forces. We are related to the world within by the subconscious mind. The solar plexus is the organ of the mind. The sympathetic system of the nerves presides over all suggestive sensations such as joy, fear, love, emotion, respiration, imagination, and all other subconscious phenomena. It is through subconscious that we are connected to the universal mind and brought into relation with the infinite constructive forces of the universe. It is the coordination. It is the coordination of these two centers of our being and the undertaking of their functions, which is the great secret life. With this knowledge, we can bring the objective and subjective minds into it is the coordination of these two centers of our being and the understanding of their functions, which is the great secret of life. With this knowledge, we can bring the objective and subjective minds into conscious cooperation and thus coordinate the finite, and the infinite, finite and infinite. Our future entirely within our own control. It is not at the mercy of any capricious or uncertain external power. It is not at the mercy of any capricious or external power. Our future is entirely within our own control. Oh, yeah, it was just another fact that confirms everything that been said. God is within. You don't need nothing that's outside of you. So stop believing it. Um, all agree that there is one principle or conscious pervading the entire universe, occupying all space, that is being essentially the same in kind at every point of its presence, and it's all powerful, all wisdom, always present. All thoughts and things are within itself. It is all in all. There is but one consciousness in the universe able to think, and when it thinks, thoughts become objective things to it. As this consciousness is omnipresent, it must be present within every individual. Each individual must be a manifestation of that omnipresent, no, omnipotent, omniscient, niscient, and omnipresent consciousness. This word really messing with my talking, man. Y'all hear how I talk, right? But listen, had to do it. Gotta do it. Gotta do. As there is only one consciousness in the universe that is able to think, it necessarily follows that your consciousness is identical with the universal consciousness, or in other words, all mind is one mind. There is no dodging this conclusion. The consciousness that focuses in your brain cells is the same consciousness and that focuses the brain cells of every other individual, each individual, but the individualization of the universal, the cosmic mind. The universal mind is static or potential energy. It simply is. It can manifest only through the individual, and the individual can manifest only through the universal. They are one. The ability of the individual to think is his ability or her ability to act on the universal and bring it into manifestation. Human consciousness consists only in the ability of man to think. Mind in itself is believed to be subtle form of static energy form from which arises the activities called thought. This is the dynamic phase of mind. Mind is static energy. Thought is dynamic energy. The two phases of the same thing. Thought is therefore the vibratory force formed by converting static mind into dynamic mind. Um, it's not like in a snap though. So like it takes time, and you gotta have that faith, and you gotta know, and you gotta be at a certain level, right? So it's like you can't just boom. I want to manifest $1 million by tomorrow. You could if you was already in the right spot, but being that you're probably not, it's not gonna work like that. So if you'll fail every time thinking it works and it's on your time. Everything is divine timing. Everything is divine timing. It's already set and it's already laid out to be. So while y'all trying to sit here and control your life, you can't, because it's already made out to be what it is. You just gotta get right. um, as the sum of all attributes are connected, contained in the universal mind, with is the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. These attributes must be present at all times in their potential form in everyday individual. Therefore, when the individual the thought is compelled by its nature to embody itself in an objectivity or condition which will correspond with its origin. Every thought, therefore, is a cause, and every condition is an effect. For this reason, it is absolutely essential that you control your thoughts so as to bring forth only desirable condition. All power